At the dance, my student whispered, "Love those blue floral pajamas you wore to bed last night." My blood went cold. I turned slowly to face Tyler Morrison from my AP history class, and he added, "Matches your new TV perfectly." "What did you just say?" My voice came out steadier than I felt, just making conversation. He shrugged, already melting back into the crowd of dancing teenagers. "Enjoy the rest of your wine when you get home." My hands went numb. I hadn't told anyone about my nightly wine ritual. Not my colleagues, not my students, and certainly not Tyler. The pajamas were a gift from my mother last week. I'd only worn them at home. And the TV? We'd just mounted it yesterday. I found my co-chaperone immediately. "Emily, I need you to watch my section. I'm not feeling well." My hands shook as I texted my husband David from the parking lot. "Something weird happened. Tyler Morrison just described our bedroom. Coming home now." "Tyler from your second period? The quiet kid?" David responded. "Babe, he probably just guessed. Blue pajamas are common." But he hadn't guessed. He'd known. The specific shade of blue. The tiny printed flowers I'd loved when mom showed me the pajamas. He knew about the wine I poured each night at exactly 10:30 while grading papers. He knew about the 65-inch Samsung we'd argued about buying because it seemed too extravagant. I drove home with my mirrors constantly checked, taking random turns, my heart hammering whenever headlights appeared behind me. Our house looked normal from the outside. Porch light on, David's car in the driveway. But nothing felt normal anymore. "You're overreacting," David said when I burst through the door. "Maybe you mentioned the TV in class? Teachers share personal stuff all the time." "I didn't. David, he described our bedroom. What if he's been—" I couldn't finish the sentence. It sounded insane even in my head. That night I barely slept. Every creak made me jump. Every shadow could be someone watching. I kept getting up to check locks, peer through curtains, study our yard for any sign of movement. David finally snapped at 3 a.m., telling me I was being paranoid and needed to see someone about anxiety. The next morning, I went straight to Principal Roberts. "The Morrison kid? He's harmless," Roberts said, barely looking up from his computer. "Model student. His mother's on the school board. Unless he's made actual threats, there's nothing to investigate." He described my bedroom. Did he say bedroom? Or did he mention pajamas that could be worn anywhere? I wanted to scream. Everyone acted like I was losing my mind. My sister suggested stress leave. The school counselor recommended therapy. Even my best friend gently pointed out that Tyler had never been in trouble, that his father was a respected pediatrician, that maybe I was projecting classroom stress onto an innocent comment. But I knew something was wrong. I started changing my routines. No wine, sleeping in guest clothes instead of the pajamas, keeping curtains drawn tight. I installed a doorbell camera, changed our locks, even bought pepper spray. David grew increasingly frustrated with what he called my obsession. 3 days after the dance, I called in sick. I needed to search our house properly while David was at work, starting with the obvious places: windows, vents, anywhere someone could see in. Nothing. I checked for signs of entry, disturbed dust, anything out of place. Then I started thinking less obviously. What if it wasn't about looking in from outside? I spent the entire morning watching TikToks about hidden cameras, my search history now a paranoid mess of how to find spy devices and common hidden camera locations. 4 hours in, after checking behind every mirror, inside every vent, and unscrewing half the outlets in our house, I almost gave up. Then I remembered one video about smoke detectors. My hands trembled as I dragged a chair to our bedroom. The detector looked completely normal, but when I twisted it off, bile rose in my throat. A tiny lens, no bigger than a pencil eraser, in our bedroom, where I dressed every morning, were David and I tore through the house like a madwoman. 3 hours later, after ripping apart nearly everything, I found 4 more. Behind the TV, in the bathroom vent, kitchen clock, even in my home office where I sometimes changed after workouts. I called 911 with shaking fingers, then took photos of everything. The police confirmed what I'd found. 5 cameras total, all professionally installed. They'd been there for months, they said. When they traced the feed, my world shattered completely. The cameras transmitted to David's laptop, hidden in a partition he thought I'd never find. Hours of footage, hundreds of viewers, donation alerts, chat logs discussing my daily routines, rating my outfits, making requests for specific angles. Kids at school had found the stream weeks ago, Tyler later told police. Been passing the link around, whispering in hallways. Tyler tried to warn me at the dance because he didn't know how else to help. David rushed home from work and I texted him, "We're done." The police were waiting. "Baby, I can explain," he started. "The money was insane. Thousands every month. Our debt was disappearing. I thought you'd understand." The officers cuffed him mid-sentence. Kids at school had been watching me change for months. My husband had been counting the profits. I filed for divorce from my parents' house.